G'day folks, welcome back to another episode of Thommo Stinshed, and we are back on the Jack Nelson below, and time is creeping away. Now, if you'd watched the end of the last episode, you'd realise we had a problem with the rear leaf springs being too tall, making the cars the right height too high, and I needed to rectify that. It really did stall us out. Now, with a bit of a quick mind check and a bit of a rethink on the situation, I was able to go and get some different spring sets from the path shed, and I've managed to get springs for both the rear and the front. Now, I've currently got it set up here just so I could check for wheelbase and make sure that the right height was looking good, and more importantly, the angle of the diff is in a good spot, and it is. So we can start tricking down the road now. Now, Red Dust Revival's coming in pretty hot. We're about 3 weeks out. We've got a lot to do. And because we've got a sunny day here in Perth, today is the day I've got to do some paintwork. So all this stuff that we've just dummy fit in, it's all got to come out so I can prime and put colour onto that. And the body sitting over there, that needs a bit of priming and colouring on the underside as well, as I've mentioned before, so we can keep moving on the body. So this is going to be a bit of a mixed bag episode, and it's going to be like that to the end. You're going to get to see this car finally start to go together, and we're going to do components as it fits. So we're going to sort of show bits of time lapse of bits and pieces as it goes, just to give you a real snapshot of the journey. So don't forget, if you like what we're doing here, hit like, subscribe, hit those notifications, and we're going to get on with it because we've got a fair bit to do in a short period of time. But Red Dust Revival's coming in absolutely red hot, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to get there. I'm pretty confident now that we're going to get places. Last week, not so much. This week, I'm okay. So let's get on with it. Okay, so we're playing catch up. As you realise, the last episode we had a leaf spring issue. This is the primary leaf from the new pack I've got. As you can see, it's fairly flat. I've stripped the pack out and just give it all a clean up and a quick coat of flat black. They'll go back together and get a paint up just before fit out. But rather than using the whole pack, it's just easier just to use the one leaf. You got to split them and clean them up anyway, so don't fight it. Might as well apply it. So we've got from centre to front eyelet is 17 inches and it's 19 at the back. We have our centre arch. This is where I want the diff centre to float. And then we've got the bracket. Now, I was going to use the 35. I kept rattling on about using a 35, but it's too wide for the spring, doesn't work. So I've actually recovered the original 28s. It's got a bolt in there at the moment, but I'm actually going to put a proper weld stud in there when I'm done. But I am going to fully weld this bracket because, well, it's a race car. So what I'm going to do now is set this up, weld all this in place, hang it up. Now the rear hangers are too far back. It actually ends up about here somewhere. So we're going to retrofit a weld boss in here and bring the hangers forward, and probably even trim that excess off. We don't need it. It's sort of surplus to need. So we may even cut this bit off and get rid of it. Our new hanger is going to be in here somewhere, so that'll hang down through here. Once we get those set in place, I can reassemble the packs, bolt them in just loosely, and then we can hang the diff and start looking at that diff situation that we couldn't solve in the last episode. So I'm just going to keep going, probably a bit of time lapse as I put this stuff together. Bit of welding here, a little bit of drilling and grinding there. We'll get this primary spring in, get it to the point where the pack's back together, and we'll pick it up from there. Righto, as you can see with a bit of time lapse, we've gone and painted up the chassis. It's got a quick lick of paint on it. It's 2-pack white. That's actually heron white. It's a GM colour, but it's a bit of a vintage white, sort of a bit of an off cream. I didn't want to put a bright opacity white. Just wanted something, you know, to suit the era, so to speak. So that's all been done. Now we've painted along the back here, because you get to see that part, but then the body comes up here. So that's going to get flat black. So fuel tank area is all going to get flat black. Likewise, the inside of the chassis rail, that's all going to get matte black in there as well. So that's done. Now onto the body. So this is the underside. We're just going to put a coat of paint on the subfloor section, inside the rear bulkhead, and obviously around inside the boot area, trunk. Doesn't have to be an amazing paint job. This is literally just to seal in the primer to make sure that we don't get any rusting happening. And then once this is sealed up, we can turn it back over. The exterior of the body, it's still got a few little marks to sort out. There's a few, hard to see, but there's a few little grind marks in there anyway. And there's a little spot hole here. So we just got to get that into primer, sort out a couple of little moments, seam seal all that up, and then that'll get the coat of white. See how we're going with the paintwork on this one, because we need a nice fine day to put the colour over that. But this will all be done and we'll have something to work with. So let's get on with painting the underside. So as we can see, folks, we've now got a nice coat of heron white, which is pretty much a heritage colour, and it's all sealed up inside the trunk area. So now we let that dry, and then we can turn this body upside down and finish it. G'day folks, welcome back to Thommo Stinshed. Start of another day. It's still trying to rain here, but that's not going to stop the build. Just makes filming sometimes fun with the rain falling on my tin shed. Now today I was going to be building the bespoke bucket seats, the bomber seats for this car. I've been working up to it, really keen to get into it, but to be honest with you, that's just going to have to wait for another episode. We've got a handful of the small things that need to be in place. Now on a build like this, there hits points where you actually physically have to prioritise items to finish items to get it to the next stage. And that's exactly where we're at right now. I've got a chassis sitting on stumps over there that needs a tail shaft and driveline completed so that I can pull the dummy motor out to finish prepping the chassis to start putting things back into it. And it's called a stall point. So it's one of those items that I actually just have to do, and the seats can wait another episode, but there's more important things. The other thing is I've got my brother Dusty. He's a panel guy. He's going to do a bit of panel work for me, so I need to finish welding the bonnets up so that he can do the panel work and get them into primer ready for colour. So that's going to be done this morning. The radiator has arrived, so the bespoke radiator cowl that we made a couple of episodes back, we're now going to fit and finalise the radiator into that cowl. Once that's done, then Dusty can do a little bit of magic on that bodywork and get that into primer ready for colour as well. So there's little pieces that have to go together right now that are more important than a pair of seats. But I am going to finish the episode by doing the dash panel. We're going to create a nice beautiful bespoke dash. From the last episode I created a template knowing where the steering column was going to come through. So we know where that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a really sweet little tailored styled dash panel to go in there. Now we're going to do a bit of bead relief, we're going to do a bit of rolling on the bottom. We're going to just give that dash panel a really nice little finish. So we are going to finish off with a bit of fancy fabrication to get that dash panel in so that we can finalise the inside of that. The other little part to it is when you got to dash point, we realised that I have to run harness and cable into the engine bay, and I need to secure that somehow. So we've got a few little spot weld bits and pieces to do to the bulkhead of this body so that we can secure the harness down the inside of the firewall. Luckily we have full colour on because we're going to have to do a little bit of welding, but that's part of the journey too, so we're going to get on that as well. So yeah, it's going to be a busy one, it's a bit crazy. We're going to leave the bomber seats to the next episode, which will pretty much take us up to Perkolilli. Bomber seats, and then from that point forward it'll be a montage of assembly. We're going to capture as much of the assembly as we can, and you'll see this car go together towards the back end and just in time to roll it up in the truck and take it to Perko. So it is busy, it's busy. I've had to bring in some help, but sometimes you just need to ask the right people with the right skill set to do the right job, and that's exactly what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks. So enough talk, let's get the tools, let's get on with it. So on the last episode, you noticed we had created the template for the dash, which is a very basic shape of the dash. The reason we had to do that while the steering column was in is because we literally are going to cut a hole for the steering column to slide through. And that kind of was important, and we needed to know exactly where it was. But here we are now ready to do the bespoke dash. Now, as normal with this stuff, as you know, we've done a few of these now. We take the straw board template, we transfer it onto the steel, and we start working the metal from there. Now we're going to do a bit of special bead rolling. I want to put a raised relief in the center section of this where the gauge cluster is going to go, but I don't want to do the whole lot. And the other thing I want to do is, I've got a new set of dies that I want to play with, and one of them is to roll a soft roll on the bottom, so just give the dash a finished edge, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. So let's get this cut out, let's get it all dressed up. What I have to do first though is I have to mark and drill all the holes to know that this fits up inside the car, and we can trim and dress it to make sure that it's a perfect fit. From there, we'll mark all our bead rolls, and we'll move to the back room and do some bead rolling. So let's get on with it. Well, it's late in the day, but we're still moving forward. You can tell it's late in the day because I've got myself a beer. Here's cheers, folks. Jack Nelson Ballot. Certainly testing my metal, but we're going to keep moving because we have to. So, as you see in the time lapse, we've taken the template, transferred it to steel. We've then marked all the holes, we've drilled it, set it, and it is now a fixture in the car. And now we can go and play. We get to play this one. So, just quickly showing you here. These marks here will just be 1/8 holes. So they'll be center holes for things like ignition switches and starter buttons and so on. Haven't quite decided what to put in there at this stage, but they're going to just be preset ready to go. This hole, if you haven't already worked it out, is where the column assembly comes through. That's why we had to do the template when the steering column was still in the car. So that'll just be a simple hole with a little bit of space, and the steering column will slide through that, nice and easy. This big oval section through here
that we're going to bead roll at a positive step. We want, rather than like floor pans where we set it down, we're actually going to make this a positive out. I want to raise this section up for the gauge cluster. So we'll have an oil pressure, temperature gauge and an amp gauge, just so we can keep and monitor what's going on in the car. And I want to sort of centralise that in the car, which was sort of would have been done back in the day. Steering wheel over here, be able to see our gauges over here. So we're going to bead roll that, and we're going to step it out this way. And I've got a couple of new bead rollers that I picked up recently, so I'm just trialling them at the moment. I'm going to use one of those to do this step bead because I want to get a really positive step on it without marking or damaging the sheet. And then at the end, one of my other new rollers is, I'm going to take this edge right here, this line there, and rather than just having a cut finished edge of the dash, we're going to put a slight roll, a little radius into it. We're going to just put a really soft terminating radius just to finish off, and it does one of two things. It makes it look pretty. The other thing, it's actually going to reinforce and keep that dash panel nice and straight. Between the bead roll and the edge rolling, we're going to stiffen this panel up so it's just a nice firm panel, and then it gets bolted in. Gauges, all the wiring behind, everything is going to be contained in that. And of course, when we finally get our scrutineering sticker, we're going to put it right about there somewhere, right in plain sight. So that's the plan. So now that we've got all that sorted out, I'm going to do the hole saw, drill the pilots, and then we're going to step up to the bead roller and we'll get some bead rolling done. So we've got the basic template for the seats. Now to get these in the car, we'll get two in the car. We're going to have about an inch clearance on the side, between the side wall sheet, the side sheet, and there's going to be 2 inches in between both chairs. So it's going to be snug. But that's just what I got to work with. So this ended up being 16.5 inches, which is not too bad because my standard sprint car containment seat's 17 inch, so I should still be able to get my butt in that. And it's going to be 14 inches deep. Now it's going to have a 1/2 inch safety edge which will be rolled over completely and hammered out, and then a 90 up. Now that there is just a anti-submarine panel, so when we drop the bum cushion in, it stops it from sliding forward and just sit in there and do its own thing. Now I've done this shape, it's just a rough estimate at this stage. It's very similar to that of a mid-80s Gambler sprint car shape, because I just happen to have one. So we're going to run with that first of all. So to get this shape, see the natural straw has this sort of roll because it comes from a roll, which is nice because you get a bit of an idea what the sheet should look like. But we're going to have to English wheel this radius. So all of that from a flat sheet will need to be wheeled out. And as I said, not once but twice. And we're going to roll this out until it matches the base. Once we've got this rolled into shape and it matches the base, we're going to put a series of 3/8 raised bead rolls through here. We're just going to put bead lines, about 4 I think. That'll do one of two things. It'll obviously stiffen up the back and give the back a bit more rigidity and a bit more strength in the seat, and it will also give it a good looking bit of style as well. We are going to tip all the way around the perimeter, just 1/2 inch. We're going to tip it back at about 45 degrees, just as a bit of a safety edge, so you know you're not just sitting on a bit of skin. That'll have a bit of style back there, and of course, again, that will just strengthen up that whole back frame of the seat. And we are going to have to tip almost to a 90 and then use the shrinker. A little return here, probably 1/2 inch, so that'll end up being a 90 1/2 inch return. So we can put a series of holes through here and we'll be able to spot weld the base to the back of the seat, and we'll finish off the corners as well. Once that's done, then we can mount it in the car on the seat frames, which we're about to make as well. I'll show you the seat frames in a second. Then once the seat frame's in place, we can then weld this chair to the seat frames, and then this chair assembly will be bolted in the car with 4 3/8 high tensile bolts. So that's the templating done. Bit of arts and craft. So what we're going to do now is transfer that onto steel. We'll do the bases first. I'll show you the bit of press work that we're going to need to do to get that right. We'll get them ready to go, and then we'll move on to all the wheel work and all the bead rolling work on that. So there's a little bit of everything, which is probably why it's taken so long for me to get myself motivated to finish this, because these are probably equal to that of the nose cone, except it is some pretty basic work, just a bit of English wheeling to get the radius, and then a series of beads and tips just to bring it home. So that's for the morning when I've had a coffee and I got my head in the game. For now, I think I'll just get everything ready and we'll hit the ground running in the morning.
Now I brought you down to an overhead for this one there. Just want to go through with all these marks. You just see me mark it out. So we've gone from template, cut the steel out, dress the edge, nice clean edges. We've orbital sanded this to make sure it's nice clean material to work with. And now we're going to go through a couple of processes to get the bases completed. Now working through it. So that fold line there, that is just a safety fold. We're going to literally press that over as far as we can get it and then hammer that flat. It's just a safety edge, because that will actually be sitting under your legs when you're sitting in the car. If you have a hard bump or something like that, or worst case scenario, had a catastrophic moment, you don't want a sharp cut edge metal hitting in the back of your legs. So we're going to put a safety fold on that. This next one is 90 up or up 90. The press detail, we're literally going to fold that inch up. That is to stop the seat cushion from sliding out. A bit of an anti-submarining type thing. When we drop the cushion pad in there, it'll sit in there, and basically just to stop it from shifting around on when you're jumping in and out of the car. Now this one around here is a step relief, my good old fashioned steps. I'm going to use the new step die and just sink this down a bit. I want a sort of bit of a factory sort of shape. You're probably not even going to see this unless the seat cushion's out, but you know, put the effort in where the effort needs to be. The other reason is we're putting some tension and some strength into this. By putting a step relief in that, you're going to reduce or eliminate that oil canning effect and just stiffen up that panel. So we're going to do things in order first. Remember, if you press this up, you won't be able to get that through your bead roller. So we're going to bead roll this section first. Then we're going to do the safety fold, hammer that over, and then do a final fold, and that will finish the bases. Once we've got to that, we're going to start moving onto English wheeling the backs. So let's get this done in time lapse, and when we get this finished up, we'll move on to the back of the seat. Alright, so there's the base. So we have safety edge folded over. See if I can get you. See, it's just this nice sort of 1/4 inch soft roll, and she's got a nice roll finish because it's sort of 16 gauge, and the way I had to bend it, you get this nice soft radius, which is, I think it's pretty cool. And then of course you've got the bead, which will be that way in the car. So that's the base done. Safety edge, 90-degree press roll, return, step die, front of the seat completed. Now we move on to the back.
So we're part way through the press at the moment. We've got the base with our centerline. We've matched an orientation of the centerline all the way through there so that we have a true center of the seat. See, it's coming around now, but still got a bit to come through here. And it's actually looking really nice through here. So that part's looking really good. So what we've got to do is start working just the perimeters. There's no more to be done through here. We're just going to start picking up the side radius through here and get this part here to turn through a bit more. We're not really worried about that. That's going to stay fairly flat. So through about here somewhere it's going to flat. So you just really need to turn in these inner thirds here. And that is very close. So a bit more wheel work and we'll check it again. And then once that's all done, look at putting some beads in this thing. A bit more there. So as you can see folks, the chair is starting to come together. And it's pretty much ready for stage 3. Stage 1, base plate. Stage 2, English wheel the shape into the chair, which is all done now. As you can see, that's just sitting on its own weight. There's no tacks, it's just literally in its own space. And it's very close. So I'm really happy with that. That's where it's going to stop now. What we're going to do right now is we're going to run a series of 3/8 inch bead lines through here to give the seat a bit of rigidity and a bit of style. So that's what we're going to do right now. It's raining here in Western Australia. I'm kind of waiting for spring to kick in, but yeah, it ain't coming anytime soon. Let's get back with this chair here. So as you can see, we put the horizontal lines in. So we bead them to a positive. So in other words, this is a negative in here, means it'll be a positive relief here. Just gives the seat a bit of profile or something. Looking a bit like a Carlton Brewery keg at the moment, but that's okay. It's going to get paint. Now we're just about ready to start welding the base in, and you probably can just see here there's this little pen line through here. That's a 1/2 inch line from the base. Now we're going to use the tipping die and put a tip in there. In other words, we need to make this into a 90-degree step or a flange, whatever you want to do it, so that when this sits down, we've got something to weld right in the corner. This will be sitting on top of the shoulder of this seat. We're not going to butt weld in the corner. It's just too risky, too dangerous. So we're going to tip this around. Probably have to use a shrinker to tighten up these corners, get these corners in nice and tight, and get it to the point where that will drop in nicely into that. Once we've got that sorted, we can tack it all together. Have a bit of a sit in it, see what it feels like, see if my bum will fit in it. But we're nearly there, folks, so it's not quite beer o'clock yet. We'll keep on pushing and see if we can get these things tacked up, ready for the end of the day. So folks, after a bit of hammer and dollying, seat number 1 has its base beautifully set in place. That is ready for welding. Just a subtle little trim difference to do through here. Just a bit of an adjustment, nothing crazy. Just to match it out, get it right. Might have been slight deviations through here or something, I'm not too sure, but that's seat number 1. It's ready to get welded. I'll put that to one side now and get seat number 2 ready to go. And then, well, weld them up. Let's get into it. Okay folks, well here we are, a pair of bespoke hand-formed, handmade racing buckets. I actually really pleased with them. I love how these have turned out really good, and the balance in the car and the space in the car really sits it well, especially when you come down the back here. The angle of alignment is looking pretty good. Now the only thing I didn't get to show you is the seat mounts. I've actually started making them, but as happens in the workshop every now and then, you run out of steel, you run out of material. I thought I had enough flat bar to do the bracketry, but it turns out I had enough to make 3 of the 4 brackets, but the fourth one was missing. So that's going to happen during the week. They're sitting where I want them. We're just going to have to pick that up later. So although I said I was going to show you how to do the brackets, that's not actually true. So this is the last piece of custom fabrication. From here on in, it is all about paint and assembly. Dash is in now. Got a few things to do, got some gauges to put in there, hole for the steering column and a few switches and so on. But that's pretty much ready to go as well. Now there is some holes to fill in here, but until this body goes back onto the car, we don't really know about that. So there is a little bit of playing around still to do, but that's pretty minor stuff. That's just a bit of tin work, that's easy. So there you go, folks. Pair of handmade bucket seats. That's how we do it at Thommo's Stinshed.
Well, it's night time here in WA, it's raining, but I'm sitting in my race car. That's right. It's the first time I've actually genuinely sat in the seat. See, the buckets are now done. I've really sort of, tucked that shirt away so you can sort of see. It's a fairly neat little seat. Now I've currently got, I don't know if you can see, but down through here on the seat, I've got the front of the seat raised up around 3 inches. The back of the seat sitting hard down on the floor, so that's the angle of the chair. And when we do that, the back angle to the parcel shelf actually looks like we meant to do it. So that was pure genius on my behalf. Thank you, Brendan. Got lucky, but it's feeling pretty good. Because what I wanted to make sure is that the seating position, when we make these seats, they're just going to be bolted in firmly. They're not going to be any adjustment to them. So I had to make sure my legs were going to fit. We've got the rain coming down now, so bear with us. Got the steering wheel, and I wanted to sort of get a bit of an idea with the steering position that I can still see down over the dash, that I have knee clearance, that I can change gears and do all that sort of stuff. I do notice though that my gear selector is going to have to offset and come out here. That is going to take a bit of fabrication work, but that's just what you have to do. You have to create the elements and components you need to get this thing over the line, and that's just what you do. So I'm going to get out of this car. I'm going to now know what to do with the seat and the angle of the seat. I'm going to create and tack up base frames and get them bolted in. Then we can float both of the seats, mark them, cleco them, weld them up. Then the seats will be absolutely finished, complete. Just need a coat of primer and a liquor paint. And looking at the position here in the steering wheel, I've got good scope to hit my starter buttons and my ignition coils and things like that. They're all down through here. My temperature gauge and my oil pressure gauge will be in sight, but I notice in this seating position, my amp gauge is going to be obscured by this part of the steering wheel, but it's only an amp gauge, like, I think I'll be okay, I can move my head. But all things said and done, considering we didn't map this out, we literally just started putting these things together as we went. We've done pretty good. It's meant to be spring. It's absolutely pissing down here, folks. So, I'm going to take a couple more laps around Lake Perkolilli in the Jack Nelson Ballot. And then I'm going to get my butt out of this car, get these seat frames finished. Because once that's done, we're working on the chassis, we're going to get it back on wheels, we're going to start filling all those gaps and start putting things back into place. And then we can seriously see what we've got left to do on that little list of lists. But in the meantime, it's been a bit of an hours. do a bit more time, get a bit more done. Actually quite like this, folks. I think you can get lucky sometimes, and I think it is luck. You can map and you can plan things and you can go through the process and you can think, oh, that's okay, we can live with that. That'll be ideal. But sometimes you just get lucky and things form and fit just perfectly. And these seats are just sitting exactly where I want it to be. You feel like it's a race seat. It's got good lateral support, good side support. A little bit of flex in it, but really happy. Something like that. Let's get busy. G'day folks, Thommo here from Thommo's Stinshed. I don't know whether you followed far enough back to our journey, but this is where it all started, at my humble little bar in the back of the shed. The Jack Nelson Ballot was introduced. We've done, to date, this will be the 11th episode, trying to capture as much of the journey as I can, to give you an insight as to what it is to build a car from the ground up and get it to an event like this. Now officially, as of today, we have like a week to go, and I still have a lot to do on the car, which means I'm going to have to put all my focus and all my energy into delivering that car to the Red Dust Revival event, which means probably going to have to pull back on some of the content capturing. Now you're going to have to trust me. I'm going to try and put a snippet of like a montage of the assembly of the car just prior to us leaving. We'll see how we go with that one. That's going to be in the hands of the gods, I think. But we are going to just get on with the job of building that car and getting to the event. So we've got to put all our focus and all our energies into exactly that. But I just want to take time to say thank you to the subscribers who have jumped on board with this journey and followed us. Really do appreciate it. I think we're at 97. Personal goal was hoping for 100, but we'll see how we go. It's not that important. I think in the world of YouTube, that's not that viral, but it just proves that there's a few people out there who are keen to jump on the back of this and watch us do our thing, which is really good, and I do appreciate it. So don't forget, continue to hit like, subscribe, and hit those notifications. We've got some more stuff coming at you. But in the meantime, I'm just going to sign off right about here for now, and I think we'll see you on the other side of the Red Dust Revival, and we'll see you on the other side of the Lake Perkolilli. Folks, thanks, really do appreciate it, and I'm going to drink that beer, and I've got a front end to fit, but in the meantime, stay cool, stay safe, and we'll see you around.